questions for Ms. Goodman?
And so we don't keep track after 8th grade, so how can we tell what kind of growth the children, the youth will have when in high school?
We have administered the iReady this year at 9th grade, just to kind of a pilot year with that. We have experimented with different testing at different grade levels with regards to screeners. We did pilot this year at 9th grade. However, iReady gives us not only the screener results, but it gives us some support, but only up through 8th grade. So that's why we've decided to stop the screener at 8th grade and administer different diagnostics in grades 9 through 12. We do have our 10th and 11th graders practicing and then preparing for the ACT that they take. So once they reach high school level, we are giving different assessments at that particular level. Yes.
I'm sorry, I have so many questions.
No, you're good. You're great.
And I know we talked last year about growth
Mm-hmm.
and, you know, coming out of COVID,
Yes.
and we're out of COVID for a couple of years now, but the 7th and 8th grade would have been in early elementary during COVID, is that about right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering, I know I'm making an inference, but just those things, and I know my son, he'll be a senior.
Mhm.
High school he's went up and down with math, the different things that they do, and reading.
Right.
But I do believe the high school they have some excellent teachers there. It's just different. It's so different.
And as you mentioned, the different assessments, the year before last, we did continue these screeners up through high school, but in reflection, we decided it was too much assessing. We have to look at what we're assessing at every single grade level, in addition to the state testing, and then ACT, the pre-SAT or ACT, and then we added on this diagnostic screening, and it was just too much. Yes.
Thank you.
And I mean, like Cash, he tested out.
Mhm.
And that, so I went and talked to his teachers and didn't really understand what testing
Mhm.
out meant. And he's like, he really had nowhere, it wasn't really accurate for this, right?
It's the intervention supports stop at 8th grade. So we can continue this assessment through 12th grade, and it will tell us what grade level that they are testing on. However, the additional supports stop at 8th grade. So the interventions that it provides, so if they test on grade level in 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, there's no additional intervention supports that this platform can provide. It just shows that they're on grade level.
Well, okay, because he was in 6th, and so, I mean, it was showing, so like when the overall data you all receive, it
So-
didn't really, he doesn't really help you, I
Right,
guess is what
so
I'm
that
saying.
would show that he is on grade level.
Yeah,
but it
that's what
wouldn't
it-
provide the intervention supports. So if a student does not, when they're assessed, if they are not on grade level, it does provide us with intervention supports that teachers can use in small groups or in one-on-one to help get them on grade level.
Okay, yeah, that's what, because it was very confusing at first, because he grew, and then all of a sudden, it was like, he's tested out, he's done,
Mhm.
there's nothing we can do, so that explains a lot more. Any more questions? All right. Acknowledgement of CCPS Professional Development Diagnostic and CCPS Professional Development Plan 24-25? Oh.
It's a
been a
mouthful,
long
I'm putting
time.
that in there. Yes, I understand. So before you have our professional development diagnostic, which we upload into Cognia, which is a platform that we have for the state, so that we can present our professional development plans to the State Department. And then also it's outlined our Clark County professional development plan that was submitted for teachers to have and administrators, so that we can all be aligned and on the same page and congruent. As we talked about getting all of our grade levels, the alignment, our vertical alignment, our horizontal alignment, it's imperative that we offer and provide professional development for our teachers, so that we can be very intentional in developing professional development. We want to make sure it's aligned to our overall vision. So our overall division, we are centered on 5 foundations, and those are the continuous development, congruent student engagement, differentiation, I can't say that tonight, I apologize, and monitoring. So everything that we do in the district with regards to academics, we center on those 5 foundations. And so all of our professional development, if you were to click on any of the grade levels, That will take you to the professional development offerings that our teachers can engage in over the summer. That will, of course, increase their knowledge base and then carries over into the classroom for our students.
Any questions?
Now, are there any, besides Kagan, is this the only type of educator available? Well, in my profession, we call them continuous education credits. I think y'all call them something different.
Yes.
But is that is Kagan the only thing that we're offering for our staff?
No, Justin, if you don't care, Mr. Casey, to go back to this slide. So teachers, based on which grade level that they teach, they can click on wherever they fall with that specific grade level.
Oh, I see now. Okay.
And then that will also take them, depending on what they teach, whether they are a regular education teacher, an exceptional children's department teacher, or a music teacher, or a PE teacher. And then every one of our PD, professional development offerings, are tailored specifically to that type of teacher. So we are being very intentional in meeting their needs. With regards to Kagan, that is something that we did all throughout this year, and all of our certified staff received that training. Moving forward, that will be something that our new teachers, when they come on board, they will also undergo that same Kagan training, but this really outlines the training for all certified staff for next school year. It does take a while if you go through and look at each one, because it is very intentional and specific to whatever grade level and what content that they teach.
Thank you. See, now that I figured out what.
No, you're good.
There's a lot of
Yes.
that goes into this, so.
I was reading that. Any more questions, comments?
No, nothing for.
You're good? Okay. All right, Ms. Fitton.
I'm good.
You're good. Acknowledge Innovation Center name update progression.
At the last board meeting, we discussed a process that we would undergo for naming of the building behind RDC that's going to house our Innovation Center, which would include the Phoenix Academy, our Cardinal Virtual Academy, our STEM Academy. So at the last board meeting, we decided to administer a survey to gather stakeholder input. So the survey was administered and we received results, and upon looking at those results, all of the names fell in two basic categories. We were either finding that names were honoring a specific person in our community, or the names were centered more on a name that would embody creativity and innovation. So that's the two categories that all of the names fell in. So I bring before you tonight a potential next step to see how you all would like to proceed in determining what the name for this building would be. And that would be in deciding whether we wanted to go the route of naming the building after a person in the community, and then what that would possibly entail, or some possible examples, and then a name that embodies creativity and innovation and what that could possibly entail. Just some potential steps so that we could go forward in the next process of this base.
Sorry, Kelly, my
No, you're
thing's
good.
acting completely crazy over here. That's what we're doing. That's
You're
why
good.
Ben's over here flicking
No, you're
things.
good. I'm having a hard time finding it, but, yeah.
It's there.
Yeah. And so we're talking about the building behind RDC,
Mhm.
that's by the football stadium.
Yes. And inside of that building, we have Phoenix Academy, Cardinal Virtual Academy. We are expanding our STEM services that we provide for the district. We have a grant that we have been able to hire STEM teachers,
I've seen it.
and those will be housed in that particular building in a STEM lab. And then also in phase 3, that's when we will expand some of our pathways that we are able to offer. So this building has the potential to provide greatness for students across the district regardless of the grade level. So we want to make sure the name represents that as well. And then according to all of the results that we received, we could go potentially 2 different ways, whether it be naming it after a person or something that embodies the creativity and innovation. If we went the route of honoring it after a specific person, we could potentially administer another survey in which we would ask for specific names and then the rationale and the reason why. I think if we do go that route, it's important to seek the rationale and the reason behind why we would name it after that particular person. We would then present the results and then narrow that down and then ask for stakeholder input again so that we could compile the results and bring to you the top contenders. If we went the route of choosing a name that embodies creativity and innovation, we could potentially look at the survey results that we have today and then narrow that down and then again put out a survey for stakeholders to vote on. So it's really just kind of which avenue and route that you all would like to go in.
Do you know who submitted these names, or was it all
Everything was
anonymous?
anonymous.
Okay.
And I feel like if you were to send that survey out today, you'd have a new names added to
Possibly,
it.
yes.
We've lost some great educators this year, so.
And I will say, when I compiled this to submit for the board meeting, there were 36 responses. But then when I went back in, there were even additional responses. So
Okay.
even after I submitted this, so there's actually more than 36 at this point.
So what are you all thinking for next steps?
Are the surveys, are they through, I'm trying to remember, is it through our email, apparently it's sent out to
It's in the email.
We posted it in the board report and then
That's
also
right.
on Facebook.
Right.
Oh, I thought you meant the results.
So the board report went out through, of course, it's posted also, but it's also goes out through our email to both staff and through Infinite Campus for all of our parents to see. And then it was also on Facebook, trying to get as much stakeholder input as possible.
We also sent the board report through different local agencies, like the mayor's email line, and just trying to get more folks.
Right.
Local ministerial associations, sending out to all their crews, really trying to make it a community event and not just, what teachers and you know, trying to really get input from everybody.
I don't know how popular, I don't know. I really, the one that kept coming back to me after looking at this list, I really do like the Marty Jackson. Just because of Marty's history with Clark County Schools. So I don't know how we're gonna divide it up, but I would like that one to carry on to be voted on, just because, his history that I didn't even know of
Well, I
standing in
think-
front of the schools and stuff.
Yeah, I think I like the idea of compiling the suggestions and then inviting people to vote on the name
Yeah.
suggestions. I guess, do we have to do it either way? Like, can we just do it where everybody votes on those? Or can we include every one of them? I think that's probably giving everybody way too many choices.
Yeah,
so.
it'd be too many choices.
My
Then we'd
understanding,
have like all over the place.
we're trying to figure out, are we going to name it after a person or name it like a name, like a creativity and innovation? And the thing, when we look at all those names on there, and then we can add names, and so for me, those names on that list all of them were important in some way, because one was my elementary school principal, one I've known, Marty since I was wee little, and now Mr. Strong was a very big presence at when that was GRC. So I just don't think it's like we need community input.
Right.
It definitely needs to be that.
The only reason I brought him, because I'm looking at the different, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different ways of it's the Marty Jackson Center.
Oh, I know.
And I like how they've just kind of flipped it and turned it, and so I don't know how you would go about doing that. I don't know if you would just put,
So we're looking at this name to honor a specific person in the community.
I would,
So you want to go
There's-
this route?
well,
mean,
I'm
there's
fine with putting some of each on there.
Some of each, just
and
combining
letting
it.
people
Right.
decide on their own, but there's some that's got multiple listings on here
Right.
that you could move over.
So the is laid out for the community.
I mean-
and they can
He had the most. Yeah, of course, you know,
Yeah.
so that's why that one stood out. So I mean,
On May 21st.
we also have the Howard Center.
Yeah.
We could start narrowing it down if you all would like. I mean, we could put out a survey. I mean, there are a lot of results, but we could put that out there and start having people rank them and then start narrowing it down. If you all would like to go that route and put all the names, whether it honors a person or one that embodies the creativity, and list them all, rank them, and then bring back, you know, the top 5 or the top 10 or something like that. If you all would like to narrow down the list, that could be one option. If that's something that you all prefer.
I really like that having a rationale because there's some names that I don't know who they are, like never heard of them, and I've lived here my whole life. I'm like, I'm not sure who that
Yeah,
person
I'm
is.
there with
Yes.
you on some.
So I think that's great.
How come some of them have like a phrase with them?
They were just submitted that way.
Yeah, we brought you this straight from what the public sent us, so we just came back for a little more direction on kind of how to proceed.
I'll forward it to you.
Yeah. Do you, I mean, so you're gonna send all these out and let them narrow, let just everybody narrow it down? You think we can get it narrowed down with all these? It's a lot.
Well, I mean, a lot of them are really similar too.
Oh, you got
I mean,
it.
I'm sure there's some of them that are gonna get, you know, one, you know, of course, you're gonna have the oddballs that are like 1 or 2 or 3 or 10 votes, where others may have like thousands or hundreds, you know, something like that, so. It shouldn't take long for to knock off the, you know, like the first 15. But I mean, I like the idea of going both ways.
Yeah, I think we should put out both sides. It's just a matter of putting them all out or
I'm
cutting it
with
down.
Ms. Fifth, and if we could do like, do you want to, like, a survey where you said, you know, have them go down a pathway, like choose your own adventure, so to speak. So, want to name it after a person, or do you want to name it after this? And if you want to name it after a person,
Give the
who is it?
rationale.
And then the rationale.
You can do
And
that.
I don't know if you necessarily have to do the rationale if they just want to name it, like something, like, they kind of speak for
Right.
themselves.
We could
Oh,
conduct a
okay.
survey that would, to do a pathway and see how our stakeholders are, they're veering more towards one direction or the other, and then we could start narrowing it down that way. That's definitely a possibility.
I mean, historically, this building has never had a name that I can recall. It was the building behind the high school. I mean, that's, when I was growing up, that's what we called it. So I think it's important to name it.
It was the,
They're a technology
ATC,
center.
yeah.
Oh, we
That's what
just-
we always called
It's
it.
called
But it
building
was
behind the high school.
Building down the hill, when I worked there, it was building down the hill.
Yeah,
the hill.
building down the hill.
Yeah.
It was usually ATC, we're going to ATC. All right, y'all got any preference down there on the end?
I mean, you know, as much input as we can. Not
They were
every,
narrowing it down, yes.
and not everybody is gonna be happy.
No.
So
You mean we can't make everybody happy then?
we just have to let people vote on it.
Would you all like a new survey that results a lot, or reflects a lot of what Ms. Hall stated, and they can choose which avenue which path that they want to go down, and then we could start narrowing it down that way, and I could present those results?
Yeah.
Would that be something that you
I
all would
like
be
that.
interested in? I can definitely do that.
So we just want to toss this one aside and you're going to start over? Is that basically what we're doing?
No,
Or we're
not
keeping this one?
necessarily.
No, I'll leave them separated into
Okay.
the 2 sections that we have, so they can choose which path that they want to go down. If they choose that they would like it to be named, so that way we can see how many people would like it to be named after a person or the innovation aspect. And if they choose to go down naming it after a specific person, we can ask them to rank them and then ask why they're choosing that name, so we have some of that rationale. If they decide to go through the creativity lens, then we can just have them rank their top 3 or something like that, and then I can bring those results back to you.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Does that sound good?
that
Okay.
sounds good.
All right.
Do we have to make a motion for that?
Just
No.
acknowledge.
I said, yeah, acknowledge.
Consider approval of first reading of promotion and retention policy 08.22 and promotion and retention procedure 08.22 AP subsection 1.
So in the policy and procedures that you have before you tonight, highlighted in the yellow are some of the proposed changes that we would like to bring to you from our current policy and procedures and that we hope to put into place. We are wanting to make sure that we have a clearly defined structure moving forwards with the process of retaining or promotion. So it clearly outlines just some of the verbiage and the language. And more specifically, it states that there would be a committee at the school level so that we are making sure that these decisions are a reflection of a committee that is really vested in that student's best interest. So it would be composed or comprised of a parent or parents, teachers, principals, possibly district administrators, and any other personnel that would have an interest with that particular student. So that way we can make the best possible decision for that child. And then that committee would then submit a recommendation to the superintendent, and then he would make the final review or approval at that time. So it's really just outlining a procedure if a school, a parent, or teachers feel that a student should be retained or promoted. It also gives some specific criteria that if a student would be retained or promoted, some of the criteria that should be reviewed in the process. So again, it's just being a little bit more detailed than what our current policy and procedure has in place. Go
So
ahead.
I know that there's federal laws about education that's different when it comes to like children who are in either foster care or in state guardianship, that sort of thing. Does it have to say parents, or can you put or guardian or?
Parents or legal guardians.
Yeah, can we add the or legal
Of
guardian?
course. Mhm.
Okay. I just know that that can become an issue, and I think we have more children in foster care than people realize are in fictive kin, that sort of thing.
It's a great suggestion, thank
Yes.
you.
Yeah. Mhm.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
I'm just full of it tonight. Yeah.
Anything else? Anything else, Dora?
No, ma'am.
All right, if not, that one is approval. Would anybody like to make
I
a
make a motion to approve the first reading,
at the policy?
promotion and retention policy.
It's a policy and procedure. Does that need to be separate, or can we do them together?
Policies, first reading, procedure just requires one reading. So you can do them separately if you like.
Okay.
Oh, which one were we?
It's both, it's listed as
Oh.
both, so you want to do them separately?
Or you could approve a first reading of the policy and approve the procedure with your change of addition of guardian. You could do that all in one motion.
What? What's this?
Okay.
Do
So,
that, Beth.
all right, so change of the wording. Beth, are you good down there?
I've got it, yes.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah, I think we need someone to second
yes, we do, I just got to finish writing that down, okay.
Okay.
Motion by Ms. Hall,
Second.
second by Mr. Bennett, all those in favor say aye.
it. Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 5-0. Okay, acknowledge CCPS instructional spotlight.
So our instructional spotlight for this month is on Strode Station Elementary. So I'm going to ask that Mr. Rock comes to go over all the wonderful things going on at Strode.
Last but not least. Good evening, everybody. And I mean it seriously, last but not least. I think I'm the very last school to present. We're out of school. It's a nice time to reflect. They've talked a lot about some really cool things we've done this year, and I'm sure you've heard some of the same things over and over. You know, we've done Kagan, we've done IMSC, things like that. And I do want to just kind of touch on those, but then I'm going to share some other things that Strode has like taken it a little bit further in jumping into literacy and making some fun activities for our kiddos and our staff. So with Kagan, we did some very intentional walkthroughs. We had 5 coaches in our building, and we made sure that we did 3 solid weeks that all the teachers signed up for a place, And then our coaches, and this was, like I said, it was very intense. Our coaches went in pairs and went into all the classrooms. The conversation that they had after that was awesome. They saw a lot of structures. The teachers were a little apprehensive at first, thinking, oh my gosh, somebody's gonna come in and judge me or coach me. And it got to the point that it was non-threatening, and I mean, it was originally non-threatening, and they understood that. And we came out with a lot of different things that they could use with their structures and things that they could improve in the classroom with it. So I think Strode had a really good handle on that. We had a lot, like I said, we had a lot of that going on, and trust me, it was a lot, but that was great. IMSC, which is the focus on our phonics for our young ones. I can say honestly that the biggest challenge with that was time, because the teachers loved it and the kids loved it. And you know, what was supposed to be like an hour sometimes went to an hour and a half. I'm like, come on guys, we gotta get down to 45 minutes, maybe next year. But anyway, they loved it, they bought into it, the kids love it. They caught on so fast. I'll also say that as I've been interviewing for some jobs, that's one of the two things that I say when one of my questions, you know, are you Kagan trained? Are you IMSC? And they'll say, well, I've heard of it and this and that. I'm like, well, if we get hired, we're going to train you. And that is something that they're very excited about, because they have been exposed to it and want to be a part of that. So, and I'll tell you another thing that I also ask, and this was something that Kelly and Jordan kind of alluded at, is we are structured standard-based when we teach in our classes. So that is one of my questions that we ask in the actual interviews. You know, are you familiar with that? Are you comfortable with that? Because that's the way we teach. We don't give you a book and say do chapter 1, 2, 3, 4. We follow our standards and make sure that our kiddos are learning that way. So it's really cool. I wish tonight that my assistant was with me, Anitra Costin, but she's off on an adventure. I wish I was with her. She is chaperoning the GRC band trip. So she's quite the lady. What time is it now? They're about 2.5 hours, I think, from where they're going to be in Florida in just a little while. But she also, when they're talking about Black Achievers, she gave up her spring break. She did, and she took a group to Washington, D.C. So she's quite the leader, and I wish she was here with me, because a lot of these things that we do, you know, we might dream it up together, or she might dream it up, but then she really takes the role on that. So I appreciate her, and she could probably talk about these a whole lot better, even though I'm sitting there watching. So what do we do with our, to go a little bit further in literacy? We have 3 things that Strode Station has, and we've talked some of the other schools into joining us on a couple of them. We have the first thing, which is called March Book Madness, and who doesn't like a good sports bracket? So in the month of March, and this is a national event, you can go marchbookmadness.com. They provide a list of the books, and there's 16 books. So we put the big bracket, you'll see one of the pictures there, put the big bracket up in the hallway, we put the books, they're assigned, each class is assigned 2 books to read, the kids read them, listen to them, and then they get to vote. And so they do this across the building and for one whole week, and then it narrows down to 8, and then down to 4, and then we had a winner. So our winner this year, in case you want to go and look to see what this book, it was Rescue and Jessica, a life-changing friendship, and it's actually mostly a true story. And I was really proud of the kids because they chose it. It was about a person, the story is about a girl named Jessica, but she was involved in the Boston Marathon, and she ended up losing both of her legs. And Rescue is a dog, a therapy dog. So that was the book that Strode Station chose as their winner this year for the March Book Madness. So that was really cool. So that's one of the things we do. Oh, let me just tell you, the next thing, it goes all through the school. So this is well, now let me go to the Battle of Books first, since I listed it. Battle of the Books is something that the 3rd grade gets a list. They've already got it. They walked out the door at the end of the school year with their list of books, and they will be reading these, and they'll be reading these and then they have a competition, and where they have to answer questions, and we have class against class, and then those winners against those winners, and that's the thing that we've talked the other elementaries into joining us, so we can make a countywide Battle of the Books. It's a lot of fun. The kids read the book, excuse me, the kids read the books, and then they have to answer questions, kind of like a Jeopardy sort of thing. So that is another thing that we do to make literacy fun. And the final thing, which is the big culminating thing of our fourth graders, is the Lemonade War. And if you've ever come around, strode around Lemonade War time, make sure you bring money. They raised $2,783.39 this year. The PTO helps run this, so thankful for that. The Lemonade War is based upon a book by Jacqueline Davies, and it's about a brother and a sister, Evan and Jesse, and Jesse starts her own lemonade stand, and brother then wants to compete. So it's a lot about economics, about how you pick the product you want to sell, how you market what you want to sell. They make commercials. The high school comes and joins us, and they made our commercials. We have a green screen that we use at Strobe. So they make the commercials. We show them to the school and the morning announcements, because our morning announcements are live. It's a Google Meet every morning, so we show those there. They're in Spanish too, because we have a very large EL population. So they have signs up throughout the building. They decide what they're going to sell, how much they're going to sell it for, and then the day arrives and we have what's called the Lemonade War. So you'll see in two of those pictures, one is just a picture of their signage, and then the others, they block off their classroom door and they sell, and they have to learn, they make change and different things like that. And the entire school gets to sign up for a time, and they go and they sell. So I don't think any of our fourth graders are ever going to forget the Lemonade War book. We love our March Madness book. That's another thing, a love of reading, and of course the Battle of the Books. So these are just ways to expose literacy to kiddos. Any questions?
I do have a comment. I think, I can't swear 100%, but I'm pretty sure you are the only principal to stand up here and acknowledge your PTO. And I do want to give you
Yes.
kudos for that, because I think people tend to sometimes kind of overlook and forget and realize how much they are doing.
Mm-hmm.
So I truly appreciate you stepping back and really being thankful for them. 'Cause they do a lot in
They
these
do a
schools.
lot.
I mean, you're always seeing them do the fundraisers and hearing the parents grumble about the cookie sales, and I was one of those. Dustin's still eating cookies.
They are great on the fundraisers, and I will also say, one of the things I love the most about that they support is they put a whole lot of their money toward our field trips, so that every kid can go on field trips and cover that cost.
But that was one thing that stood out, that pretty sure you're the only one that mentioned that, and I think that's awesome that you
So
did.
we have a lot of supports. I could go on.
Thank you. Anybody
Thank you.
else?
Thank you.
We got Mr. Cruiser.
I'm evidently off my game tonight, I don't know.
Good evening. Hi, I'm Kent Kugel. I'm the English learner lead for the district. I'm here to share some information about the LAU plan. The LAU plan is required in all school districts to outline how services are provided for our students identified as English learners. The LAU plan committee consists of teachers and administrators who began meeting in February. We met in person and also shared a working Google document over several months and made revisions through suggestions on the document. Basically, this plan outlines our process for identifying English learners, what types of services students receive, how proficiency is evaluated, what the criteria is for exiting the EL program, how students are monitored, and how staff is supported in providing these services with the goal of increasing language proficiency and promoting student achievement. This document is considered a working document, so we can revisit it through the year and make changes to meet the needs of our EL populations. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions?
Yeah, it's well done though. I love the book. To be able to look through it.
Yeah, I
Right.
like that too. That's what I was gonna say.
Yes, thank you.
It's put together really.
That one's the acknowledgement. Okay, consider approval of Clark County Preschool 2024-2025 and 2025-2026 calendar. Kelly Picken.
Prior to tonight, at previous board meetings, we have approved the school calendar for all of our schools, in addition to Phoenix Academy. We did that last month, so we bring before you tonight the Clark County preschool calendar. And I'm going to ask that Jill Blanton, the principal, come and explain some of the certain key components of the calendar, because it does look a little differently than some of our traditional school calendars. So I'm going to ask that she walk you through that. But we have mimicked the preschool calendar as close as possible with our traditional school calendar, but making sure that we're meeting all the requirements on the preschool end as well. So I'm going to ask that she go over some of those.
So the preschool calendar is mimicking the school system calendar quite a bit better this year. We are looking at doing, the first day that you'll see that's kind of a little different is that Little Cards Flight to Pre-K Day. And so that is where we are going to do like a 2-session where the kids may come in 8 to 10 or 11 to 1, so that we can really make sure that all of our paperwork is in place, making sure bus transportation is good to go, car riders, because as you know, we are 3, 4, and 5-year-olds, so it's vital that we have those pieces in place, because we really can't ask them, you know, where do you go today? Take me to the park. So those are really important pieces for preschool, and making sure that all those are in place. So that's what we call our Little Cards Flight to Pre-K Day. And then we will go a non-transport day for the 15th and 16th, and that is just to give the bus garage more time to get all the routes in place from all the other buildings and the other schools in the district. And then preschool will start with transportation on the 19th. And so you will see there's some non-instructional days built in throughout the calendar. Those are days that we do, home visits are done on all of our students twice a year. So our staff has to have time to do 20 home visits per, you know, they have 20 kids in their class and they go to all of their homes. And they are so important, those home visits are. We also do parent-teacher conferences, they input data, we do lots of ARC meetings because most of our population is considered at risk. So like this year we had 64% that we were providing services to. We do lots of screenings because all of our students have to be screened to come to preschool, because you either qualify based on income or based on an area of concern or a need. We do professional development, and of course with 3, 4s, and 5s, cleaning is vital. So we literally sanitize the whole entire classrooms. We work on transitions. We do lots of child finds. And then CAC, who we're partnered with, Community Action Council, they have a lot of things that we have to do too, like health and safety checks, lots of safety requirements, and all those things are done on those non-instructional days. And so the only other difference that you'll see in the calendar is in the 24-25, we are going to be making an awesome move in January. And with that move, we're taking 3, 4, and 5-year-olds and we're moving them to a really large building. And so we're going to need some time to make sure that our classrooms are set up, and then we want to have an open house for our parents, but also the community, because I feel like the community is just as excited about this building as we are. They're probably not as excited as me, but they're probably close. And then on the last day, I want to ensure that all of my staff knows the new policies, procedures, evacuation routes, fire drill, because we all know that can happen the first day that we get in that building. We need to know what our routes are. So we are asking for a couple of days to get into the building and get acclimated to the building, and to ensure that our staff knows the new policies and protocols and evacuation routes and things like that. And then you'll see on the last week, we do end on the 16th. This will be the only other difference. And like I said, we do have to screen every student that comes to preschool. So we always use 3 or 4 or 4 to 5 days to screen all of those students. So, and on the 25-26, it's really very similar, except for in January, you'll see that those 3 additional days are gone. So, do you have any questions?
Looks good to me.
We love our calendar.
It's lovely.
And I will state that they're going above what the state requires for a preschool. So they are not only meeting the needs, but going above and beyond in providing additional instructional days as well.
And we go full day, which is awesome. So most programs are 3 days or 3 hours, they're part-time. We are a full-day program, 5 days a week. Most places go 4 days a week. Thank you.
Okay, would anybody like to make a motion for the 2024, 2025, and 2026 calendar?
I make a motion to approve.
Motion by Ms. Hall.
I think Billy's second.
All right, second by Mr. Bennett. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 5-0. So, we are going to take a 5-minute break real quick, and then we will come back. Sorry. We will be back here in just a few minutes, so it is 7:52. So we'll just come back at 8.
We're gonna have a pause.
Huh?
We're gonna get the
are back in session at 8:04 PM. And we are on item number, or no, there is no number. Yeah, we're on consider approval of construction bids for the Clark County Phoenix Academy.
We can also add it in before that, the acknowledgement.
I've got it at the bottom of that. Is it, you've got it before, I had it at the bottom.
She
I
got
put it in
next week.
e-meeting before, sorry.
Oh,
Just
well, I didn't go by this. You got it where?
You
Yeah,
got
right
it
there,
first.
page 3.
Oh, okay, stand by. I'm probably sure to go in just a second.
I'll be brief. So like I told people on the break, I'm gonna be covering this one, and then I'll be covering this one with Ross Drawn on the other couple. So essentially, the district, the board sent out an advertisement seeking looking for three local business community leaders to serve on the local planning committee or LPC. Essentially, that committee will be made up of 20 members to really develop and look at a 4-year district facilities plan. Essentially, to sum it up, the committee is going to study information concerning the district's buildings, financial information, demographics, and other information as its discretion to develop a plan for addressing the district's construction needs for the next 4 years. And what I'm here to present tonight is a list of community business leaders that have submitted their interest. And at that point, in a future meeting, the board would look at their applications and then review who the three people would pick. So we had 6 folks that went through the proper channels, and the list of nominees are John Toddy, Cameron Correll, Carl Kaiser, Scott Heisel, Meredith Guy, and Greg Yates. So that will be, so really all we're asking here is to kind of acknowledge that we've received this. We wanted to do it in a very open, transparent way, and then the board will work to make selections at a future meeting.
Is there a way to add a additional person to that? To the LPC?
They would have to contact the district or Mr. Watkins and send them an email directly since he's over that committee.
I mean, could the board add somebody, another board member, if they wanted to?
I think what Brandon said was that any of us were welcome to attend it. But there was just one designated member.
That's one, could we add 2?
The board it's very specific that one board member is the official rep, and that there's the maximum is 20.
Okay.
So that's my reading of it, my understanding of it.
I just didn't know. Because I
And
know,
it just says, yeah, 10 members that include.
Yes.
such and such.
because I volunteered for it, but then Ben told me he was interested in it. So,
Wow.
That, I mean, that part is who represents the board, is completely up to you guys.
I also thought, if there's enough room.
there'll be enough room, I'm sure. Well, I mean, we'll wait for Brandon to figure it all out, but
I
I
got
wasn't
talking.
aware that he was interested, so
I
it
got
went
talked
on.
to him anyway.
Huh?
That I have to talk to Brandon.
Okay, all right,
So
so
we'll figure it out.
moving on. Yeah, we will.
So those are our 6 noms.
Yes.
So the names I read in that document and that attachment along with the advertisement is in your board
Right.
documentation. Yes, sir.
So the board will just need to choose what did we say?
3 of them.
In June, though, is that when that's gonna be added back? Okay. Can't remember what we said. Okay. So now we are, did you have any more questions, Dora?
No, I just wanted to make sure that, and so we will make it, we need to make it, we'll be
We need to
making,
make a motion to accept the nominees.
because it's a consent, but we're not
Yes, we'll need
prepared
to-
to make a decision yet, because we need
Correct.
to.
We were just giving you guys the names officially at a public meeting.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
But that, I just want to make sure for anyone who had applied, that they know that's where we're at.
Correct.
In the process.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So would anyone like to make the motion to consider acceptance of the list of nominees for the 3 local business community leaders to serve on the LPC committee?
I'll make that motion. I'm not gonna try to talk through the whole thing.
All right, motion by Mr. Bennett,
I'll second that.
second by Mr. Dorsey. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Okay. I think it's really your turn this time.
Go ahead, Brian.
I think.
I don't really have much of a presentation. But I
You
just
better go
wanted
quick.
to- I'll go quick. We, just obviously want to cover the results of the bidding process that we just went through on the Clark County Phoenix Academy. So, this past Friday, we had 4 bids, were submitted at the bid opening for the new Phoenix Academy renovation. The 2 lowest bids were both below our last estimate, the construction document estimate. So the low bid right now is $1,544,135 from MP Kelly Design and Construction. So at this point, we have received all the information that they're required to provide to us between the 1 hour and the 48-hour interval after the bid. We have reviewed all their information, subcontractor, supplier information, and their bidders' qualifications. Our engineers have also reviewed that as well. And at this point, this afternoon, we sent a letter to let you all know that it would be our recommendation to move forward with the MP Kelly Design and Construction. There's 2 options that you all can take at this point. One is to, like to move forward with the base bid work only. So that $1,544,000 number is for the base bid work only. We have 2 alternates. One, the first alternate is for owner preferred door hardware system. So that's actually a $0 add to the contract. So that would be kind of looped in automatically with what we're considering kind of the base bid number. The second alternate that we had, which was what we consider to be kind of a higher dollar alternate, was to go ahead and replace all of the windows on the building. So as part of the base bid, we're replacing 8 windows on that facility in the rear in the spaces that we're kind of doing most of the work in. It's obviously it's up to you all whether or not you want to take that number. It's a good number for what it's worth to do those all new aluminum window systems and get everything kind of consistent with the building. So that would be the primary kind of decision that you all need to consider and kind of approve this evening. And here, this is the big tabulation form. So we had 7 contractors that had picked up drawing sets through Lin Imaging, which is the plane distribution that we typically use for projects. And we had 4 bids. So this is really good, by the way. I mean, both from where the numbers landed, but also the amount of bidding interest that we had from contractors on this. We had a project bid a week ago that didn't have anybody show up on it. So sometimes when you're getting into projects like this, that it's a lot of interior, renovation and refit, there's some concerns over, how many folks you might get show up for it. So this is great that we had 4 contractors and with good bids as well. So.
Have you worked with this construction company before?
I have not personally. Our office, I believe, has in the past a long time ago. They're out of Richmond. We do have reference contacts. They have quite a few references on there, which is usually a good sign.
Good.
So the projects that they have done are all kind of in the wheelhouse of this project. They've had everything ranging from less than $1 million to $12 million. We also had some other contractors that had given a good reference for them as well. So we can certainly continue to do more follow-up, but all indications at this point, but based on our assessment and our engineer's assessment, is that they would be they would certainly be suitable to do the work here.
They've not ever done anything here though, that I know. And
Not
since I've been here, I don't think.
none of our
Okay.
projects here in Clark County, at least that we've been involved with.
Right.
Now, their electrician that they're using, Rymar, is a local electrician. They've done work in the district, and they also come pretty highly.
Yeah. Yeah, I know several people that work there. That's great. Any more questions, comments? This is your forte. You got any questions?
No, I'm good with it.
Oh.
From my standpoint, I would recommend.
What's the superintendent's
No,
recommendation?
well, I would recommend, I agree with Brian. I think we need to do it the right way. And I would recommend going ahead and doing the windows as well. That is a price I did not think we would get, to be quite honest with you, about just stating that.
No, and that's part of the reason we broke it out as an alternate, because it is a high dollar value.
The only thing I
But
see right now is like
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
As somebody that's been in there quite a bit, yes, please.
You know what I mean? Yeah, because
Yes.
that look, yes, exactly.
The aluminum window systems also may assist with getting those installed. They tend to, because they're coming to the site fabricated, they tend to install a little bit faster. Now we have longer lead times with them, but they're a better thermally performing unit. So when you kind of factor in the entirety of what you're doing in that building with an HVAC replacement, it'll help out to have a tighter envelope.
Yeah, I guess I didn't even, that was not even an option for me. It was, okay, we're gonna do that.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to
That
make
was
sure.
what was in my
I
head,
read
that's
you on
why,
that, but I
yeah.
want to say it publicly, so.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And you're good with this company and that's your recommendation is to go with them?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So would anybody like to make a motion? Ben's gonna make a motion.
Back to where we were here. Alright. So, motion to approve the acceptance of the MP Kelly Design and Construction bid for the renovation of Phoenix Academy.
All right, motion by Mr. Dorsey. I'll second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Yay. All right, consider approval of revised BG1 form for the Clark County Phoenix Academy building renovations. BG number 24-129.
So we have, so now that we have gone through the bidding process, one of the things that we will also do at the same time that you all consider and approve bids is we update the BG1 form for KDE. So because now that we have a hard construction cost number, we can kind of update all of the numbers that are kind of contingent upon that cost. So what that will affect automatically would be the architect and engineer fee, the A&E fee. That's based off of the KDE's fee schedule. So we update that based on the base bid in this case, as well as the construction contingencies, which are 5% of the total construction cost. So both of those things kind of factor in, and it values back out to the total project cost for this. So we issued, for you all today, we issued 2 BG1 forms. One as just the base bid, which is what you're looking at here. We also have a second BG1 with with all of the alternates added in. So the base bid plus the $62,000 for the additional windows. So those are the 2 options for the BG1 form. It sounds like you all have approved going with all of the alternates as part of the bid process and bid approval. So we would be looking at the second BG1 form.
Yeah, do you need to go, you probably need to go back and amend that.
Yeah.
Did that need Becky?
I'm sorry.
He needs to probably go back and amend his
Motion.
motion.
To include the additionals, the alternates.
Sure,
like
yeah.
windows.
I thought he did say that, but he went on.
No, I think he just accepted the
I was
bid.
just talking.
Okay.
I should have
So, okay, so you're
specified.
amending your motion to include the alternates, right? That's,
Correct, both alternates.
okay. All right, and I will second that again. All right, so all in favor again?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, it passed again,
Sorry.
5-0. So now,
Apologies.
no, it's, okay. So now you're considering approval of revised BG1 form for the Clark County Phoenix Academy with those revised, or those alternates. All right, so that motion, you're making that one too? Is that what I heard?
Yeah.
Did
So
you know?
moved.
Okay, motion by Mr.
So
Dorsey.
moved.
Talked you right into it. Okay, I'll second.
Oh, yeah, it's just the difference in the paper.
Right. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Here,
Whew,
I'm jumping around.
I know, I don't know what my, whew, okay.
So that
Now,
second BG1 form that's in here will have the total construction cost with that second alternate included. Again, the alternate number 1 with this particular bid was a no dollar add. So we're just looking at an additional cost for the second alternate. And once that, you are to approve that, we'll have that signed and we'll submit that through the fact pack and everything as part of the process here. We've been given some verbal confirmation that we should have our permit this week from the PC. So that's good
Nice.
news as well. So.
all right, fantastic.
Yeah, the sooner you get started.
I think so.
Yep.
I will tell you, if you want to be on the news, Ms. Blanton has got 56 News coming on Monday at 11 o'clock, and they're gonna highlight the progress of the preschool, where they, took pictures before, so they'll be back. So if you guys are available, want to be in that shot.
On the 3rd?
On the 3rd. at
What
11 a.m.
I'm actually off that day.
There you go. Ms. Blanton,
We'll be there.
there we go. I'm gonna let her do all the talking, so.
Let me know if you need anything from us.
Okay.
Yeah.
At the new preschool, right?
Hmm?
Okay.
I can talk about some new preschool.
Thank
Well,
you.
congratulations. I mean, these are, like I said, these are great numbers. It's not often these days we're seeing things coming in a little bit under estimates, so this is great news.
Yes.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay. Finance and Human Resource update. Consider approval of job description, lead maintenance technician. I think I'm back on track.
Okay.
I think. We'll see.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, just so you don't have to listen to me repeat myself 3 times, the first 3 job descriptions up for approval, lead maintenance technician, bus driver trainer, and vehicle maintenance supervisor, all kind of 3 fall under the same umbrella. So they're currently hourly positions that we have 3 employees in, but in order to meet the U.S. Department of Labor's requirements for supervisory roles and salaried roles, we had to revise them to exempt positions. And this also helps us as a district to work on a fixed expenditure for a save a loss budget.
Does anybody have any questions, comments, or motion?
I'll move to consider approval for, can we do all 3 of those, or should we do them separately?
Probably easier to do them separately.
Okay. It's cleaner, yeah, okay. So, I make a motion to approve the job description of the lead maintenance technician.
Motion by Mr. Bennett. I'll second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 5-0. Okay, Billy, you're up again.
Okay. I'll also move to approve the job description for the driver trainer position.
All right, motion by Mr. Bennett again.
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Dorsey. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 5-0. Go, Billy, go.
Okay. Okay. I would like to approve the job description for Director of People Personnel.
Nope, I think you skipped one.
Vehicle.
Go back up.
Ve-
Vehicle mechanic supervisor.
Oh, vehicle, yeah. Oh, sorry, I got a little excited.
Yeah, you did.
Changing subject.
I don't know, we were just cheering you on too much.
All right, I would move to approve the job description for the vehicle mechanic supervisor.
Motion by Mr. Bennett,
I'll second.
second by Ms. Hall. All in favor say aye. Opposed, motion carries 5-0. Okay, do we need to, okay, you
Yeah,
got,
I didn't get to see you on April, so I brought the Calvary tonight.
you missed us.
That's right.
All right, so what you want to tell us about this next one?
Okay, so this next one, for brevity and uniformity's sake, we're asking that the title be changed from Administrative Director of Student Accounting, Student Support Services, and Administration to Director of People Personnel. This is just a title change.
Just a lot
I always thought it
lot
was
easier
that,
to
it wasn't?
Not, well, not officially when we look, so. We're
Okay,
just trying to make it crystal clear.
all right.
Not a new job, just change the job description of the job we have.
Yes, and I heard congratulations are in order that you hired that position this week.
I did. Mr. Jamie King, who was interim, will be the full-time DPP if you guys change it officially. If not, I don't know what
He's
we're
gonna
gonna
be
call
whatever
it.
that long name was.
The name badges we got, it won't all fit on. So,
I'll motion for the approval of the job description, Director of People Personnel.
Motion by Mr. Dorsey,
Second.
second by Mr. Bennett. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 5-0.
All right, so this next one, Assistant Director of People Personnel. So this is just a reflection of the restructuring, the allocated positions already here at central office. And this one would be the Assistant Director of People Personnel.
Okay, so this was already there? Or was it that big long name, assistant of that big long name?
No, so this is restructuring of allocated positions
Okay.
at central office. So we reallocated
okay.
other positions to create this one.
Okay, I got you. Any questions? Dora, you look like you're pondering.
So it's a new position,
So these are positions
or
that.
rearranging, like a puzzle.
Yes, yes. We've
Okay.
taken other positions and rearranged them to create, we felt like this aligned better with like our district goals and supports to do focus and intentional supports for students. And this was why we felt like was a great restructure.
Will this person be going to court and doing all that too?
Yes.
That is in the job description. Yep.
Okay.
Some of those responsibilities.
I mean, I did read it, but I couldn't remember what it said.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the job description for the assistant director of people personnel.
All right, motion by Miss Dora,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Dorsey. God, what? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
All right, so the next job description, the immigrant liaison. So this is a current position that's operating under a different title with different roles and responsibilities. And Mr. Kugel is going to be the expert on this one, so I'm going to let him take over for this one.
Hi, hello again. So we recently submitted the Migrant Education Program grant, and we have a tutor as one of the job titles within that grant, and we've rewritten it with the guidance of the regional director to divide that into two parts. So we have the Migrant Education Program tutor, and now the immigrant liaison. It will be 50% of that position. Our migrant staff is one of our best resources for connecting our immigrant and migrant families with health resources, with getting immunizations, with navigating resources in the community. And this really just opens up that position so they can serve other families. A lot of them honestly will overlap and be qualified for immigrant and migrant services, but it would also give them a more of a presence in the school and be more available during kind of our peak times. We have a lot of enrollments at the beginning of the school year, right after Christmas. So I think that's what we need.
And this is a population that it does grow, like it's been growing, correct?
It is our highest growing population in Clark County Public Schools.
So we didn't qualify for the immigrant sub-grant last school year, but we just re-qualified for it. And I believe we had 66 immigrant when I ran the report. And I ran it today and we have 87. So that's compared from the beginning of the school year to now.
Are they
So it is
primarily Spanish speaking?
almost entirely Spanish speaking.
Is there anything in that job description talking about being bilingual or anything like that?
It says
It
fluent
does.
English and Spanish.
That's what
They must be fluent.
I was looking at it just then, yeah. I learned from asking about the other one. You gotta look at it. Fluent in English and Spanish, it says.
That was my question. I guess I can just look at it.
No, I'd ask.
Thank you. I make a motion to approve the immigrant liaison job description.
Motion by Ms. Hall,
Second.
second by Ms. Simpkins. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
All right, since opening the daycare in January, we've kind of been flying the plane as we're building it. And so learning along the way, we've had people in these roles, so these aren't really new roles either, but now we have job descriptions that align better to Kentucky's Child Care Aware program. So that's where this next job description comes into place for the Cardinals Nest Assistant Director. And like I said, we do have a lady already fulfilling this role, just doesn't have the proper title.
Okay. Any questions, comments, motions?
I make a motion to approve the Cardinals Nest Assistant Director job description.
Motion by Ms. Hall,
Second. Oh,
second by Mr. Bennett. All those in favor say aye.
aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
All right, so the job description for lead aftercare teacher.
So, as everybody knows, Clark County Public Schools is about to assume the responsibility of the aftercare program across the district beginning August 5th. So we will have to employ a lead teacher at each aftercare center and location. So that's what this job description is for. These are also suggestions and recommendations for Kentucky's Child Care Aware program.
When is the other aftercare supposed to end?
She's gonna finish her summer school program.
Okay. Because there's been a lot of questions about that as to when we're starting, when that's in. Is there gonna be a big gap in between?
I think there's a week between like closing and moving out and then opening and moving in.
Okay.
So we are providing services about 2 weeks prior to where they've ever been provided in the past. So
Okay.
services will start the week before actually opening day.
Okay.
So
All right. Yeah, I meant to ask somebody that the other day because I had a question about that.
we have a really pretty infographic being developed right now, and we've already got like an interest survey set up that we're gonna get out to the community and hopefully.
That would be good because I think everybody kind of panicked thinking there wasn't going to be anything.
Yeah,
So. if we
and that's
could-
one of the reasons too, we wanted to get this in place and then push it out. So that we can have, we don't want anybody to have anxiety to think they're not gonna have aftercare.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna provide care even through Christmas break and fall break and teacher work days and non-instructional days, so we're really
Yeah,
ramping
that will
it
help
up.
a lot. Okay. Any more questions? May like to make a motion?
Motion for the approval of the job description, lead aftercare teacher.
Motion by Mr. Dorsey,
Second.
second by Mr. Bennett. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 5-0.
Okay, so the next one, child care aftercare assistant teacher, is double dipping a little bit because we don't have a job description at the daycare, and we'll also need a job description for the aftercare. So this job description will cover all of those positions.
Okay. Any questions? If not, would anybody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the job description for childcare and assistant aftercare teacher.
Motion by Mr. Bennett,
Second.
second by Ms. Simpkins. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 5-0.
All right, so a little bit of switch up here.
But we were on a
The
roll.
agenda items, it's different.
I'm sorry.
This is a policy revision, it'll be the first reading of this one.
Consider approval to update vacation and holiday leave policy. Policy
The
03.222.
motion would need to be first reading of policy,
Okay.
but the agenda's okay.
All right.
Except for it's, oh, never mind.
Okay, so the only change that we're making here is at the very bottom of the policy, where it used to say employees shall not accumulate accruals for vacation, but now we're going to change it to match what several other districts are doing, and they can accrue up to 30 days. And we're hoping that this gives the employee and their supervisor some flexibility to meet specific needs because schools' needs change so often. So we feel like this gives us the flexibility to do so.
So the accrued, is that like carry over
Up to 30 days.
to the next school year?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, gotcha.
They get 10 a year and they'll accrue up to 30.
Okay.
I make a motion for the first reading of the updated vacation and holiday leave policy, 0.3.222.
Okay, motion by Ms. Hall,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Dorsey. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 5-0. Consider approval for the use of emergency certified teachers for 2024-2025.
Thank the good Lord above, I don't know that we'll have to use this year because of all the wonderful work that you all have put in. Almost every position certified in the district has been filled at this point last year. I could not even said we were close. So we're in really good shape, but as a formality of just in case, we usually do this at every May board meeting. So I'm just asking your approval for if we have to use certified or emergency certified teachers for next year.
Okay. I make a motion to approve the use of emergency certified teachers for 2024-2025.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bennett. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Acknowledgement of revamped CCPS volunteer program.
So really, we're just excited to tell you about the work that we've done over the last few months. So our Frisk coordinators, our partners in education, the HR department has worked really hard to revamp our volunteer program. And all of this was to streamline for efficiency and ensure safety for students. So one of the most significant things we've done is streamlining the recruitment and onboarding process. So we now have a really neat QR code that everybody throughout the community and the district will use to apply to be a volunteer. And that form comes into HR. HR will do all of the onboarding, so it kind of takes a lot of the clerical work off of our directors at each building and puts it on us here. And then we're doing all the background checks as well and the screening, and then we're releasing. So once the applicant is released, everybody across the district has access to that volunteer. So it's a really much more efficient way than the way we've been doing it. Same with onboarding. We're kind of regulating the mandatory onboarding and training for each volunteer. Really, it's just a unified effort to get more great quality volunteers into our schools for our kids, and it's another great way for us to connect with the community. So a lot of great hard work was put into this, and we were just really excited to share it with you all.
Fantastic.
I know Mr. Yates with the PI program is extremely excited about it. We talked about it at our last board meeting earlier in the month, so I knew about it, and it is great. I think it'd be maybe recruiting more volunteers. It's rewarding to be able to volunteer in the school, so hopefully more people will start doing it.
Thank you. We hope so. We hope we made it a lot easier.
Oh, definitely, it's great. So I make a motion.
Well,
Or
it's
we
just-
acknowledge it.
Yeah, we're just
Yeah.
acknowledging.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Miss Ellis.
It's about time that it's time for finances.
I know.
Okay. So in looking at our financial update, we are spot on with our property taxes from this time last year, which we know we've been doing a great job this year. The sheriff, kudos again, that collecting that for us. We are a little bit behind when it comes to our franchise or property taxes and our motor vehicles. I still don't foresee that that will be an issue in us meeting the budget because we're very conservative. We always budget under what we really will most likely bring in anyway. It's just the timing of how all of that gets collected and reported to us. With what was actually collected in May so far, our motor vehicles actually up to 84%. So we've gone from 75 to 84, 10% in just 1 month. So, I mean, that's a big, so I suspect that it will continue to do that till we hit our mark. Any other questions? I mean, otherwise, we're really kind of same, again, operating expenditure-wise, revenue-wise, right on par with, we're very consistent in our finances at the district since I've been here, so.
We do appreciate it.
I just had do we know of any trips that someone at GRC took to California to an Airbnb?
I am not aware of that off the top of my head. I would have to research.
Maybe I can show it to you afterward, just so you can look into it. I don't want to put that person on the spot or anything. It's just, it's a pretty big purchase, and it's kind of just embedded in there, and maybe I'm reading it wrong too.
Okay.
But
We'll definitely look at it.
Absolutely.
Lots and lots of trips, and I know that we had a
There
group.
are lots, and sometimes they do kind of get meshed in, but we will definitely.
Yeah, because I know there's a big group that went to Gatlinburg. I forget who that was. Like you see it, like you see them on the Facebook pages, and I didn't see anybody in California. So.
Okay, we will definitely look into it. And I know that, I don't know what spot we're on, but we talked about student fees. Just
Yeah.
kind of an update on that. They are literally exactly the same, except for RDC Band has requested that we add 2 different fees for polo shirts and then just the replaceables of reeds and that kind of stuff, because as with the costs of everything has gone up lately, and they're just struggling to continue to maintain the cost of replacing shirts and all of that stuff every single year. So again, student, if they are free and reduced waiver, they will not be charged if they cannot afford it. It's for those who can help afford to
Right, and it doesn't
fund the
mean
program.
that they would have to charge it.
Correct.
If, you know, budgeting and band and things like that we're gonna talk about on Thursday. But just in case they would need to, they cannot charge it without it being approved.
What is the fee?
Per Red Book, they cannot charge unless it's board approved, so we just wanted to have it on there. And again, that's with any of these fees, they are not necessarily all charged.
Correct.
If they already have funds in the account and don't need to charge, it's only there if they do charge, we have to by Red Book have it listed. It's $25 to maintain, it's the way we wrote it is maintenance for our school-owned instruments, reeds, lubricants, and miscellaneous things to maintain those instruments that are owned by the district. And then $20 for polo shirts. Again, won't be charged unless it's a necessary fee,
Yeah.
but listed in case we need to. But those are the only things that have changed from the current fee schedule this year.
So will there be any like school fees or are we still at that level of, okay. I just wanted to make sure that parents knew that.
No, yes,
No,
no
no
school
school
fees,
fees.
no, correct.
Yeah, just preparing for August, it'll be here very quickly, so.
No, or no fees for participation in athletics like at the middle school, like there used to be years ago where you had to pay. We continue to not charge our kids to participate.
Is this I'm going back to RDC band. Does Baker have this too, the same fee?
They do not. So each school kind of lists their own, and Baker, that is not one that Baker requested to have. And then also GRC, which they have multiple fees for band because they're a larger, obviously, program. But the ones that, I mean, you can see it on the schedule. Band is nothing at Baker. They don't have any fees for band at Baker. But GRC has, for their audition fees, uniforms, participation fees, rental fees. I mean, they have a lot of uniforms and different things. in place
Yeah, 'cause
that
they got
go
the-
to. So most of that, I believe, is your marching band.
Right.
But
Yeah, and they've got multiple bands too, so I mean, I can see theirs, but okay.
yeah, there are no fees at Baker for band listed.
Did that one need a motion too? For fees. Well, actually, we're not to that one yet. We are at, wait, where'd you put it, Beth? Are we at that one?
I put it underneath, paying the bills.
Okay, so we're at pay the bills.
Yes.
So we need somebody to make a motion to pay the bills first.
So moved.
All right. Motion by Mr. Dorsey,
I'll second.
second by Ms. Hall. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Now we can make a motion for the fees, wherever that was, over here. Consider approval of student fees for 2024-2025 school year.
I will make that motion
All right.
to approve
Motion,
student fees for 24-25
all right.
school year.
Motion by Mr. Bennett,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Dorsey. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Okay, now we're at consent, oh, no, we're at superintendent's report. I
Superintendent,
cut you
so-
right out there.
Yeah, no, I gave some updates last week, so I'll just kind of hit the highlights. We wrapped up another wonderful school year, graduated 400+ kids. It's fantastic. Staff just finished up most of their teaching contracts for last week. We are running several different summer school programs, summer feeding. So we still feed kids throughout the summer. They just have to come to our sites. Big shout out to Dr. Muncie back there for continuing the greatness and really advertising that really well. So if you have any questions, just reach out.
They don't have to eat there.
There you go. GRC, RDC, and our ELL/migrant all are running summer schools currently along with Phoenix Academy. Coming up, again, you guys just approved the PD plan, so we'll be getting that out to staff, make sure that they get to kind of self-select and differentiate. So we're excited about that because they're gonna, again, it's aligned to our district vision, but there's definitely variety for them. We are also targeting second grade students with our first ever literacy take flight. Did I say that right?
Literacy liftoff.
Lift off. All right. Well, there you go.
They both fly.
They can fly. I mean,
Taking
they lift it off and
flight and
take it.
literacy.
I'm back on go-karts, all right? But we're actually running 2 different sessions. It's extremely exciting. We're partnering with a couple different community groups to the Greater Clark. Give them a big shout out. It's basically we're taking students that are behind in the second grade that haven't quite mastered reading, and we're providing a 6-week camp. It's 3 days a week, 3 weeks in June, 3 weeks in July. We've selected a world-class staff intentionally that are really, those teachers really have skill sets in teaching kids how to read, because we firmly believe if you can provide supports early on with early childhood education and supports, you won't have gaps when we get down the road, right? Which is why we invest heavily in our preschool, and this is just another example. Because after the second grade, as the third grade, our standards change, if you didn't know that in phonics. So we don't necessarily teach kids to read anymore. We use reading to teach content. So if we miss out and kids are behind at the end of second grade, it's significant. And so I really commend our entire staff, Ms. Fitton and everybody that's worked on this, to really, again, target students and provide them reading phonics instruction so they come in third grade on grade level instead of being behind. So that's a big gigantic. We're feeding them too. We provide transportation as well. So we're removing every single barrier that could be possible. We're one of the only districts in the state of Kentucky that done it this way. It's year one, so again, we're piloting it. But I think how many students have we got?
157.
157. So we're not taught. So Ms. Fitton's going to run an elementary school over the summer.
That's right.
She told me 3 days a week. But we're excited. We've got 10 staff, 4 staff, teachers.
14.
Even bigger than I thought. 14. I had staff while I was in the meeting as an RDC. But really, this is something we can be proud of. There you go. But again, it's the first time we've ever done, so I want to make sure you guys, we really would like to get you over there so you can see how intentional it is with using things like our high-rated screenings and our data to not just bring them in and rotate them through different, but be intentional with what the kid needs. Is it decoding? Is it fluency? Is it phonics in general? Is it comprehension? And grouping them up, and not only grouping up at the beginning, but if they need to change groups at the end of the week to get, because they've mastered something, we're building that flexibility in. So it is a live program working to get them back on grade level. So that's, again, hugely excited about it, clearly. So.
Are we gonna do transportation?
We are.
Awesome.
Transportation, which is a big expense, but again, we've got partners, and if we have to, that's because it's what our kids need.
And you say it's gonna be at RDC, did I hear?
It's actually going to be rotated between 2 elementary schools,
It'll be at Shear in June, and then at Stroke Station in July.
Oh,
But
great.
it's all students from all 4 elementary schools.
Right.
We just
Good.
choosing
Okay.
sites based on the summer feeding sites
Sure.
as well,
Sure.
because they do get breakfast and lunch.
That's
On
exciting.
transportation, breakfast, lunch, and high-quality reading, phonics instruction. So, super excited. Thank my staff and make sure they take some time off in June. Because it's been a heavy lift. We continue to work very hard for our kids because they deserve it. So, thank you guys. That's it.
That's all you got.
That's all I got.
We'll
Go
leave
Cards.
ask Kelly.
Nope.
Are you sure?
Positive.
All right.
I'll update you next week if I forgot something.
Okay, consent agenda items. Anybody like to make a motion on all of those? Help somebody, and I've been lost all night too. Doris had to holler at me a few times.
What? What?
Nothing. I said, would you like to make a motion?
Yes, I'll make a motion to approve
Okay.
the consent agenda items.
Motion by Ms. Hall,
Second.
second by Mr. Bennett. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Need a motion to go into closed session. Oh, that's on that other one. Becky, you want to read that out loud? Oh, no, there.
Pursuant to KRS, where's mine?
61.810, subsection 1, subsection F, and discussions or hearings, that one,
Yes.
which might lead to the appointment, discipline, or dismissal of an individual employee, member, or student. And what was the rest of it?
And discussions, preliminary discussions
Of
prior to
superintendent.
the superintendent's summative evaluation.
There you go. I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. We are in closed session at 8:49 p.m.
I accidentally hit stop before it said 8:49 p.m.
It's okay. I got it, we got it.
I got excited.
I did.
Can I show